Hey, it's Jay here. Um, Wanted to kind of piggyback off my other video talking about behaviors and patterns and things like that, emotions. Um, when we look at our behaviors, we look at our patterns, and we look at choices. Um, when we go back, when we're born, we're born blank, we're born empty, right? Just little innocent baby comes in, doctor slaps it on the bottom, it starts to cry. Then at that point, everything that we have learned has been brought to us from an outside source. We either saw it, we heard it, we felt it, we tasted it, we felt the emotions of it. But every single thing was brought from an outside experience into us, and then we learned it. So our behaviors started to form around these things that were brought to us. Um, these start to create our values, right? So the things that we value in life are the things that the people who were important to us, or we felt were important to us, or influential to us, brought into us. So those start to create our values. Our values then start to drive behaviors, choices, things like that. So when we look at our values, and then we start looking at people feeling overwhelmed with something or being judged or shame or guilt, all these different things. When we look at it's all based off of values, we have to look at what are our values because everyone's values are different. If you look at a dollar bill is going to have a different value in New York City versus Oklahoma or Minneapolis. It's going to have a different purchasing power, right? A different value. Well, what I think about something and what you think about something are going to have two different values, and neither of us are wrong. So if I'm trying to convince you that my values should be your values and then your behaviors should be my behaviors, that's not fair. That's not right because you have your own and I have my own. So it's not my place to tell someone what they should or shouldn't believe or value or things like that. I just know mine and I hold space for that, and I hold space for people to hold theirs. So these values we have start to create choices that we make, right? If I value something more than something else, I will choose the thing that I value more. So then we start looking at our choices, and then our choices start to create experiences in our life. And then these experiences start to create emotions that we feel from these experiences. So when we look at how this all plays together, is we're born and then we're just a sponge. We just absorb this information. Your brain is literally in a trance state till you're about 7 to 8 years old. So you're just absorbing all of this information. And you're learning all these values and these patterns, these behaviors at a young age. And those are embedded into us in our unconscious mind. So now we come as an adult and we see these patterns and these behaviors. My father was this way, I am never going to act that way. My mother was this way, I'm not going to act this way. And then all of a sudden we find out that I'm doing just like them. We learned it. We learned that that was a value, that was a behavior. Even if we didn't like it, it was still something that was taught to us that was important. So if we don't like our behaviors, we have to look at how we were taught. There's a saying that I love that it goes, whose thought is that anyways? So if there's a behavior that you're doing, you believe it to be true or a value, whose thought is that if you don't like it? And when we can slow it down and we can look at these things and we look at the patterns and how we were taught and what our values are, we can look at whose values were they and are they still mine? I was taught some things as a child that I didn't necessarily agree with when I became an adult. My values had changed as I found out who I was and grew into myself. My values changed, so then my behaviors changed. So wrapping up with this, just looking at how do we get our behaviors and our patterns and make choices. And if we're happy with them, great. But if we're not, how can we change that? So I'll put another video out, what are our next steps if we want to look at these behaviors and we want to change things and get different things in our life? How do we do that? So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.